want the first time you're playing in Philly to be in the playoffs here. You want to go out there and feel that hostility and get used to it, take it.
Philadelphia fans are never going to forget this the rest of his career.
First time you had that type of adversity, they can't keep hiding Ben Simmons.
If the cameras could only see Patrick and Alan Yates doing whatever that is behind the scenes. But now it's time for a little M and Out morning here on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, and your smart speakers. Always great to have Monica McNutt giving you the Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk, no contract, no compromise. Monica, we talked about the Philadelphia 76ers hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Ben Simmons will be in the building, not in a uniform, not as well dressed as you, but he's going to be in the building on the bench tonight for the Philadelphia 76ers game against the Brooklyn Nets. What are your expectations, even though he's not going to be playing, but he's going to be there in the building tonight in Philadelphia?
First, good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Good to see y'all. But also, what's up, Freddie? I did not know you were in today. Hi, friend.
They always keep me a secret. You know how that goes.
Surprise. Pleasant surprise this morning. Last night we were doing all our prep for different shows, and I legit wrote, what fan is going to get ejected and cost themselves the ability to see this game? Like, I'm curious to see who it's going to be, because I feel like that's the sort of, is vitriol too strong? I just feel like Philly is just waiting for this moment. Beyond that, in terms of the basketball game, and this might be elementary, Jay, you tell me, I'm curious to see which team can come up with the stops they need in the moments they need. We're going to get plenty of buckets, hands down. Like, we're going to get delightful buckets. But I actually think versus the Hornets, that was one of the most connected performances we've seen defensively from the Nets in a long time. And so when you've got so much firepower on either side, who can come up with the key stopping key moments is kind of going to be my thing to watch.
Yeah, because I feel like tonight, Monica, we're going to get so many single shots of Ben Simmons. Every face is going to turn into some kind of meme, right? Whether he's reacting to the crowd or not. But on the floor, I just can't stop thinking about what is the better duo. Like, me as a basketball fan, what do I like better? We have this debate before on First Take. Like, are you more of a fan of now seeing it for a couple of games the way James Harden and Joel Embiid combination? Or are you more of a fan of Kyrie, the way he cooked for 50-plus, and KD, those offensive assassins? Which duo do you think is the best duo?
Gosh, Jay. Okay, so I have best duo for different reasons.
Okay.
Right? I think that first of all, Joel's strength and dominance in the paint, like, crazy, right? And so the way that those two work off of the pick and roll, and you have to play both of them, I think is so dangerous in terms of them needing to be connected to one another. But when I look at the Nets, you got Patty Mills and Seth Curry, who are almost 40% three-point shooters. And so to me, that just creates so much more room for Kyrie and KD to work, and they can do whatever they want all over the floor. That, to me, because of their basketball IQ, should you figure out a way to defend, air quotes around defend them, they're going to find one of those two guys. I just think it's more weapons on the net side, which make Kyrie and KD a little bit more enticing to me. But, I mean, really, just pick your poison, flip a coin.
Why y'all sitting up lying to the people and stuff, acting like y'all really into the game, knowing damn well y'all watching the game for the Ben Simmons drama and see how they gonna react to.
First of all, if you were listening, I said that when I sat down.
No, I was.
Don't start with me, Key.
Listening, operative word.
I'm ready, Key. I'm up this morning. Don't start with me.
I was listening, but it was just funny. I'm sitting here, I'm saying to myself, Jay sitting up talking about, well, basketball. I'm like, nah, Jay, you want to hear them boos. You want to smile at that. I know what it is. But when you look at, Monica, when you look at the Nets tonight, and you figure out who's going to stop Embiid in the paint, though, and he decides that he's going to use his strength and his size and do what he does, who's going to match up with him?
Yeah. Key, that's a great question.
It is.
And not only that, like, are you going to be able to match up without fouling? Because James and
Without
Embiid
fouling,
can
yeah.
kill you from the free throw line. I think a lot falls on Drummond. A lot falls on Aldridge. I don't know how I buy. Right, just from a size, those are the guys. A size perspective, those are the guys that you think of. But I mean, is that the poison you got to live with, and you bank on your offense clicking as efficiently, if not more efficiently? I don't know what you do with Joel Embiid.
ESPN basketball analyst Monica McNutt, hit her on Twitter, McNutt Monica, joining us on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio. Then on the other side of the coast, the Los Angeles Lakers. I'll do the face. The Los Angeles Lakers, again, losing to the Houston Rockets. They are 1-6 since the All-Star break, Monica. Only the Portland Trail Blazers have a worse record, and they don't have anybody. They don't have anybody in their basketball
First of all,
team.
shout out to Josh Hart, my DMV brethren. I would tell y'all the story about how I got hemmed up with the Secret Service trying to do a story on him in high school because
really?
Sasha and Malia Obama went to school with him. It was a whole thing. I thought I was going to lose my final project. I was stressed out. Like,
really? Oh, forget the Lakers. We're on this now.
This is our 2-minute extra content series. That's what we need to hear.
Hey, Monica, finish this. We're on this now. Forget the Lakers. They're going to continue to stink. What's this all about?
They are going to continue.
Hey, man, watch out.
It was okay. So it was my capstone project, finishing my master's program at the University of Maryland. I had this whole pitch on like how this generation of athletes' careers is going to be shaped by social media. And so I knew Josh's high school coach at the time, and I'm like, all right, ambitious master's student, pull up with my gear, MMJ, like at Sidwell Friends. I see Josh and a group of athletes, and Eric was running late. So I'm like, oh, I'm about to make me a whole 30 for 30 by myself with my one-man band, right? So I'm like, Josh, like, did Eric tell you about this interview? He's like, cool, yeah. I'm like, great, I got all these different athletes. I'm going to talk to so many of them. So I'm setting up my gear and start recording. The AD flies around the corner. Mind you, this is what happens when you grow up in D.C. and you just don't resonate. I saw Sasha, I saw Malia. I saw Malia on the track, but, like, I wasn't there for her. Like, I wasn't going to ask any permission, didn't care. So I started setting up recording. The AD comes flying around the corner. You can't be here. Like, there's all these, these are like highfalutin kids, like whatever. It's a whole thing. They take my gear. I got to go in her office. The Secret Service is called. They scrub my camera. I'm just like, can y'all not erase my final project? I won't use this video, I promise. They go to my car. They call my professor. She's like, Monica, why am I getting a call from the Secret Service? I was like, I was just trying to do my project. Like, they searched my car. It was a whole thing. Shout out to our tech guy at Maryland that found the parts of the project that had nothing to do with Sidwell. So I was able to finish my final project. But, yeah. And they were like, don't tell anybody about this. But a couple administrations gone. I think I'm good.
That Law and Order part of this was so much better than the Lakers and the Law and Order from that standpoint. So much better. Always appreciate you, Monica. You're the great work, my friend. Thanks a lot.
Monica,
you too, guys.
if I wanted to be the next head coach at Georgetown, would you vouch for me?
Oh, good Lord. Let's not.
That's a dream for me. That's a dream
Jay wants to coach Georgetown.
That's a dream for me. That's a dream for me, Key.
I want Pat to get it right.
Me either.
Oh,
but, like, wow. What's going on?
Trying to steal Pat's job.
What's going
on in
on?
D.C.?
It's G-Town.
We're going to find out what's going on. They might need Secret Service at Carson Wentz when he shows up. That's what Keyshawn, J. Max on ESPN Radio. About to be 5 years with the Colts and 5 different quarterbacks. Thank you, Carson, for everything this year, my guy. Wish you nothing but the best, end quote. So that support is there, Keyshawn, when it comes to Carson Wentz no longer being a part of this organization. As our producer, Evan Wilner, said, he came in Wentz, and now he's a Commander Carson with the Washington Commanders. So they won't lack for options, Key. But I have to wonder, if you're the Indianapolis Colts, where do you go from here now that Carson Wentz is no longer the dude in Indianapolis? That's the biggest question right now.
Well, I think you have to figure out what you want to do. If you think about the quarterbacks that they've had, like he said, 5 quarterbacks in 5 years, you can go all the way back to Andrew Luck and Scott Tozine and Andrew Luck again and Jacoby Brissett and Phillip Rivers and now Carson Wentz. So you have to think that what makes the most sense for this football team? Where are they at? You don't want to go young. You don't want to draft a guy because you need to try to figure out what your team is all about. They have a very good team. They need to upgrade the wide receiver position and give Michael Pittman Jr. some help. They need to upgrade a little tiny bit in the secondary. You got a dominant running back, but you need a quarterback that understands the professional football game. And so how you do that is you go out and you try to steal somebody else's quarterback that may or may not be in good favor with that particular team for one reason or another. You've already given up draft capital for Carson Wentz, but you got draft capital back for Carson Wentz, so it becomes somewhat even. Now you go and you move those pieces to go acquire a guy like a Jimmy Garoppolo, for instance, that could be available to you, given the fact that you, the San Francisco 49ers and the Indianapolis Colts, have done business in the past. So I'm assuming there's a good relationship there with those two teams. So maybe the Jimmy Garoppolo situation, if you trust his surgery and his shoulder, may be a good fit for you. It'll be a good fit for sure. Jimmy indoors, throwing the football all over the lot, will be a plus.
You see, Key, and I agree with you on the Jimmy G, and I like that fit if they can pull it off. I think one of the things people don't talk about enough about the situation for the Colts yet is now that they got rid of Carson Wentz, you think about this, they now have the most cap space, right? They have just under $70 million available. That's the most cap space in the entire NFL. So
man, they can go shopping.
Man, you can get – so we talk about some of the pieces out there, if that's Jarvis Landry, if that's Amari Cooper that you can go after and get. And if you think you combine that with some other pieces you can pick up, if that's a Jimmy G, Jimmy G, I think, is the answer between Jimmy G, I think, closes those games down the stretch last year where Carson Wentz couldn't, especially if you get some additional pieces from a wideout perspective.
You know, there's a couple quarterbacks I would try to wrestle away. Jimmy Garoppolo will be one, but my number one guy in all of it would be Matt Ryan.
Okay.
He'd be the number one guy. I would kick Atlanta's door in until the Atlanta Falcons say no. Okay, if I could tell them, hey, I'm going to give you my 2024 first-round pick, and I'm going to give you 2 twos, that's what Matt Ryan would be worth to me. On top of what Jay said, $70 million, so I can absorb his contract, Amari Cooper's contract, Landry's contract. I can absorb all of that with that particular money. Matt Ryan is the number one target for me if I'm Chris Ballard. They will trade Matt Ryan, NFC to the AFC. They don't have any issues with that. He can't come back to hunt them unless it's potentially the Super Bowl. If I am the Indianapolis Colts, I'm going to get Matt Ryan for sure, and I'm giving up what it takes to get him.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on ESPN Radio. Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, Freddie coming in for Max Kellerman. Here's something.